Okay, so I've somewhat recently returned from my trip to Thailand about 10 days ago, and I'm feeling like I'm back in this time zone. So up for giving the talk tonight. It was suggested to me last week. I said, no. But this week, yeah, feeling much more present. Of course, the reality also is say we're reflecting on the theme this winter retreat is the fourth foundation of mindfulness. So the foundation of mindfulness of the Dhammas, Dhammanupassana, Satipatthana, and the present readings are on the 5 khandhas, 5 aggregates of being. And one of those aggregates is sañña, and perception, memory, recollection, and that as we consider that just as a faculty of our being that we rely on, but of course it's also it's impermanent. It is subject to our moods, our whims, our particular biases, and it's important to be, well, all of these aggregates of being are like that. I mean, they're uncertain, they're unstable, changing, and fraught with all sorts of uncertainty. So and particularly the aspect of memory is really important to be considering, because so much of our, when we think of memory, so often things stand out in the mind and we think they're really certain, absolutely kind of correct or right, and we form views and opinions about them, or we plan our life around them, and that really is a problem. So that as practitioners, to be very reflective and cautious around our khandhas, our aggregates, and to be willing to allow things to be uncertain. So that being said, I'll talk a bit about some of the things that I did, or what stand out in my memory about what I was doing or was involved with while I was away, and that knowing that it's very selective. But when I arrived in Thailand and had the opportunity to go directly down to the south of Thailand and where rested for a few days and then led a retreat. So that was a nice introduction to, say, travel and to being back in Thailand. There's still a lot more caution, say rightful caution, around the pandemic in Thailand. It was going through an upswing of people getting infected, and so that there was a hesitancy to having a public retreat. So it was an online retreat, which for me I'm okay with that. There was about 10 people, so it was a small number. It's nice to have a few people. It's like a hybrid is kind of good. It is nice to talk and teach to actual human beings rather than to screens, and so that was a nice balance. There was a lot of people joined in to the retreat. And it wasn't too long, so I think it was 4 days. So it was comfortable. Then we went back up to Bangkok, spent a day where we got to pay respects to the Supreme Patriarch of Thailand, Sangharadja. And he's this, I think he's 93 now or something, and but very bright, very lively, very welcoming monk who was very interested and concerned how we're doing in the West, and he himself was in a small group of monks who went to he went to Australia in like 1972, first group of monks to go to Australia to establish a Thai Buddhist monastery. So he knew well how say the difficulties of starting something in a new country could be. I think he probably experienced a lot more maybe reaction or suspicion towards what the heck, what's this? What are they doing? Who are they? And I think probably Buddhism is a lot more known as a, especially when we came to here to the say Northern California, there's a lot more, I think, acceptance and interest by 1996 when Abhayagiri was established. But still, he's very supportive of our communities. And then went to Ubon, to Wat Banana Chat, where and this trip to Thailand, I spent the majority of my time in Ubon, whereas oftentimes I'm moving a lot more and doing a lot more teaching. I didn't do that much teaching in different places. Wat Nana Chat was having a ceremony for the consecration of an ordination hall, and they had built a new, very beautiful, and the word that came to my mind in seeing the building for the first time is elegant. It's really elegant kind of structure that was both practical, because it's very open and spacious, and good, really a lot of care given to the construction of it. A very, very beautiful building, but it's also it's Wat Nana Chat, been established for almost 50 years now, and hasn't. This will be it. It's its first sort of ordination hall, and it's something that in, say, most monasteries you would certainly have an ordination hall. So it's been a while. It's been a while coming, and Ajahn Kavali did a wonderful job in doing the construction of it, and but all the preparations as well, because because it's a Buddhist country, then you have the consecration of an ordination hall, and what you've got is thousands of people showing up, and along with the king and the queen. So that made a whole level of complication and ceremony that it entailed, but it was done very beautifully, and there was a very large number of, I'd say probably a majority of the abbot senior monks from the different branch monasteries around the world came. Not all. Some decided, a large number of monks were there, and teachers, ajahns. So Ajahn Sumedho was there, made the effort to go. Ajahn Amaro, many of the senior monks who we know. Made the effort, because it was it was an important occasion, and it sort of took place over a long period of time. So I was there for about 10 days or so until the New Year. There's all these, and those ceremonies took place during that time. And it also, in order to get there's so many senior monks that you had to have had about 20 or 25 years as a monk in order to get a kuti. Otherwise, you were in the forest in your umbrella. So there's lots and lots of senior monks. So it was a big deal for, say, like the Abhayagiri monks, the junior monks were there. As Kantiko, Dhammawaro, Tisaro just traveled there. He got a kuti because he arrived, and within a day he had symptoms and tested positive for COVID. So I managed to pick it up from somewhere between San Francisco and Thailand. So, but fortunately, I mean, he was traveling with us when they arrived. So within a few days, he was already down with COVID, and various other monks there. It was a problem. There was a few that had to be isolated, quarantined. Ajahn Pasanno, who he was like Ajahn Kevali's kind of right-hand man in helping all the organization, setting up, interface with the public, and he came down with COVID and had to be isolated. So, and it's definitely a thing. But people rolled with it, yeah. But the Abhayagiri monks seeing, because you come from here in America, where you're definitely out on the fringes of society, and we have a big ceremony, and people come in the hundreds, and it's a big deal. But there, it's a whole other scale, but it was done very beautifully, and the especially with like Ubon is historically, it's really its connection with Buddhism and Buddhist teachers is extremely strong. So and Wat Nana Chad, after having been there for 50 years, is just really looked on with tremendous respect and appreciation that these people from foreign countries, foreign lands, are taking interest in and living a Buddhist training, taking on the training. But it was, again, just on a daily basis of just all the people coming and the teachings that were given, which we shared, because there were so many senior monks, and it was shared out amongst all of us. But so it was a very rich time to be reflecting on Dhamma and living together with fellow monastics. So it's that reflecting on community. I think back, and my memory is one of a lot of warmth and that connection of community, both in terms of monastic community and then with the bonds between the monastics and the lay community, and then the actual integration of a monastery in a larger community, society. These aspects of community are really important, and that's it's an important aspect of living a skillful life. How do you live together with other human beings? And it's something that America hasn't quite figured out yet. I mean, it's been around for couple hundred years and still hasn't quite figured out how to live with each other very well. So these seeing that integration is that sense of warmth is there. It's really quite inspiring. And another aspect of this ordination hall is that the design of the building was based on one of the early ordination halls that was built in Ubon shortly after the founding of Ubon as a town, as a city. So it has a historical connection to the area, and all that was left was, I think the building finally fell apart. It was torn down about 70, 80 years ago, but there were pictures left, and so that the designs were took those old photographs and created a new structure around them. So there was a lot of excitement of, having kind of a resurrection of an old, respected place from Ubon being plunked in the midst of the forest in Ubon. And so I stayed in Ubon till the New Year, and then traveled to. We drove down to Bangkok, spent a few days driving down, stopping and visiting where Ajahn Chah lives, and sort of visiting people, visiting him, and then spent. Again, it was probably maybe a week, not quite a week, in Bangkok, giving teachings and having medical checkup and visiting a few different places that I've been, and people that I've been connected to over all these years. There's this, in particular, a hospital that I think it's almost 20 years now. They've been supporting Abhayagiri, and we go and do a ceremony and give Dhamma teachings, and it was a kind of a hybrid also of a mixture between a in-house gathering, not so large, and an online. Most of the people plugged in online, and then going to visit Siti and Dhammasatan, who Meiji Sanson, he passed away last year, so it was just a little over a year since she passed away. So go to give some support and encouragement to that community, and then visited a few different lay people, school. But then left to go back to Ubon, and then stayed up in Ubon for another 10 days, 2 weeks, something like that. Led another retreat, which was at the home of a lay supporter in Ubon. And he had enough space in his house to host the monastics and his family and a few of the friends, and then they just basically cleared out all the furniture in the kind of living room, but there was enough space for 60 people. It's not a modest home, but he's using it for Dhamma, so it's kind of I'm doing sitting meditation, walking meditation, so there's a few days of retreat, and then it was the beginning of the Ajahn Chah memorial ceremonies where, again, thousands of people coming together, and monastics and lay people, and it was really felt sorry for there was the first day, and there's already many hundreds of people camped out, many hundreds, many hundreds, monks and lay people camped out as the first on the first day, and there's this full day of rain, which is quite rare. January in Thailand is dry and cool, perfect time for gathering, and so just all the kitchens and monastics and everybody. But I went over that day, and people seemed to roll with it okay. Couldn't have been much fun, but people were there chanting and meditating and listening to Dhamma just the same. So it was pretty amazing. This sort of dedication is inspiring. And then of course the weather shifted, and it was fine. But people, so there was Dhamma talk in the morning, Dhamma talk midday, in the afternoon, and then and again in the evening, so that I was going over every day and joining and trying to participate as much as my body would allow, and but just as that sense of inspiration of the group and community effort, and this is particularly a community of people who are inspired by Ajahn Chah, and of course it's getting to be fewer and fewer people, like the monks who lived with Ajahn Chah. I mean, while he was still active and healthy, those are dwindling. You see, the senior monks they're senior, they're old and not able to plug in, so they're not as many there and present, and so it was nice to be there and be a part of those who were there, because certainly Ajahn, just as people here have been inspired by Ajahn Chah without having ever met him or seen him. Still, there's something that is quite tangible, so that the felt sense of Ajahn Chah being a presence is very strong at Ajahn Chah's monastery at Wat Pah Pong. And I spent one morning wandering around, just going to the old places and out to the jetty and to the kuti where Ajahn Chah lived, and going and sitting there, and being flooded with memories. Again, that sense of the sañña kanda, and I'm very moved. I'm feeling extremely fortunate that I did have the opportunity to spend time in close proximity with him as my teacher. And then the last day of the gatherings is a Dhamma talks and in the afternoon and circumambulation of the jetty, and that's for those people who have seen it. Where's Dennis? You've been there. It sticks in the mind. You're just doing something incredibly simple, walking along with flowers, incense, and candles, but it's with thousands of other people, and that sense of veneration and respect that one circumambulates the jetty, the place where Ajahn Chah was cremated, and it's an act of reverence. That again, it's a communal act. And then the evening is dedicated to Dhamma talks through to the next dawn. So, however many Dhamma talks they can fit in from the evening through to the next dawn, and I skipped that. Ajahn Siripanyo had invited me and our group from sort of the Abhayagiri group, because Ajahn Yaniko was there the whole time, and Ajahn Yaniko, Tankantiko, Dhammavaro, Tisaro, as well as a Thai monk who came and received me when I first arrived, and then stayed and was my attendant the whole time, Krupa Gai. Ajahn Siripanyo invited us to go out to Dao Dam, which is in the western part of Thailand, and a place that I established years and years ago, and is still, quite a vital place for Wat Nanachat as a place for practice in solitude, practicing in the forest. It's quite difficult to get to, so basically just four-wheel drive off-road vehicles. So we had a whole caravan of vehicles, and then able to spend time at a few days out at Dowdam, and then Ajahn Suripanyo wanted to show me, a couple places that he had found on when last year they took the group in for Dowdam. Usually they do kind of a walk-in, several days of walking. Rakito was on that walk.
16 days ago.
How much?
16 days.
16 days, my goodness, okay. They said it got miserable at times.
You have found best of times, worst of times.
But is that, that jetty they found? They did a whole big, this past year they did a whole big renovation of it. And it was this overgrown jetty that was, I mean, it wasn't ancient, so it wasn't all tumbling down, but it was completely overgrown, not difficult to see that it was a jetty. So that over this past year, they fixed it all, cleaned it up, fixed it up, did a nice job, did all the kind of the finial on top, and then people knew that it was being done, so that people offered Buddha images and relics and whatnot. So we had and it's a very remote place, and quite a interesting area. A lot and border region of Thailand, and quite dramatic area. So that able to go in there for a couple days, plus we traveled to get to it. There was one of the lay people who's a student of Ajahn Suripanyo, Ajahn Chah. He owns a business on a lake with called a flotel, sort of a hotel, a floating hotel. So he wanted us to go, and we spent a night, and you get. We went and paid respects to a very famous old monk who has passed away years ago, but he's so respected that they haven't cremated his body yet. It's just there is his body is up on the front of the hall, and gosh, it's over 10 years ago he passed away, and it's still and he was just respected so much by the whole communities, and he is kind of again a border community with all very diverse population of people, and he was kind of the glue that held the communities together, and it seems to be holding the communities together. And it, very moving to see that. So I got to spend time and the part of this trip was also being out in the forest and being in simple environment, practicing in this, in a quite remote area, even for a short period of time, was rejuvenating. Yeah, and then it was 6 weeks were by, and it was time to come back. So that was my time there. So yeah, my memory of that time is memories of community, memories of kind of that of connection. I think that's a we can quite naturally be drawn to things that are either exciting or stimulating or irritating and whatnot. But I think the theme of this past trip to Thailand was really connection and community. And so that's something to continue to, as a theme, and how to use memory and perception in, say, retreat. If we're talking about winter retreat and reflecting on the foundations of mindfulness, what do we perceive? What do we bring to mind? What do we bring to the forefront of our recollection? And we can be directing attention to that which brings a sense of connection, of feeling of community, because that's certainly the case where people are here to practice, to cultivate the path, and to and sometimes we feel lost, but it's important to recollect that we have these opportunities for reestablishing that sense of connection with the Dhamma, connection with the people around us who are practicing. So I'll offer that for reflection this evening.